Most recently, I have played the role of Ida in New River Stage's production of Honk. It's a musical, it's a theater for young audiences show, so it's quite a bit different than Much Ado About Nothing. I would say that performing in a musical versus performing in Shakespeare really isn't all that different. You're playing a character. You are listening and interacting with other people on stage. So it's been really fun for me to not only do a straight play for a change, but to do a Shakespeare. And on top of that, to play a role that, I think every actress at some point in her career would love a crack at this part, because it's just so fun and there's so much richness in the role. Okay, so here's the deal. I have done a lot of outdoor theater in my life. I have performed and stage managed in theater in the woods all throughout high school and college, professional companies in the Midwest. This is a wholly new experience for me. I've never performed on a working farm before. So when I have these little toy donkeys that are this big, there's nothing toy about these suckers. They are big and they will just wander right through the set in the middle of your monologue, and so that's been interesting to me. Also, the roosters are very interesting. Anything with claws, I'm not typically much of a fan of sharing the stage with, but luckily all my actors are pretty nice, so. Beatrice is a highborn lady who has an enormous opinion of herself in certain ways, but who also is, like all people who come off as being very self-assured, vulnerable in her own way. And I think that she's a really unique character, both in that Shakespearean literature when it was written, and also for the period that we are playing the show in, the 1920s, in that she is a woman who has no regard whatsoever for the typical conventions of women do this and men do that, and I think that she is a real heroine for women even today. I think that she really embodies a sense of independence and fun, and she's a woman who is smart. I think anyone who's ever gone to middle school will recognize the relationship between Beatrice and Benedict quite well. They are the epitome of the I'm going to be mean to you because I really like you couple. And they spend most of the show really getting under each other's skin. And it's so much fun to sort of watch them fight not only with each other but with themselves. Their relationship really evolves sort of by the trickery of others. I think they are so entrenched in their own ideals and in their own hoopla that they don't really have the ability to discover the truth for themselves until other people show it to them. One of the most fun and recognizable parts of the show is when the friends of Beatrice and Benedict proceed to trick them into understanding that the other is madly in love with them. And then of course they go through the middle school-esque, oh, she likes me, oh, he likes me, well then I must like him. So they have a lot of fun with that. Beatrice has some of the best lines of all Shakespearean women of all time. She has these great lines of independence and of, she says, would it not grieve a woman to be overmastered by a piece of valiant dust? She just has a wonderful way of flouting convention and telling everybody that she does not intend to be ruled by anyone. I think the 20s are a really interesting time for women, and I think it's a really interesting time to play Beatrice. It almost has a little more resonance. I think in the period that the play was written, in Elizabethan times, she would have been seen as something of a radical, And perhaps in the 1920s, she's more of a suffragette, she's more of a progressive, she might be part of the progressive movement. And so it's an interesting era of, enormous amount of women's liberation, more freedom in terms of partners and in terms of lifestyle choices and in terms of, do you want a career outside of the home? There's all these avenues that World War I sort of opened up for women. And there's a lot of conflict as well, but I think that it's a really interesting time to play Beatrice because she fits pretty easily into that time frame. I think that the audience is going to be astounded at the level of talent and skill that the New River Valley has. I was astonished at the read-through, sitting around the table, talking to everyone and learning their backgrounds. There are decades worth of theater training in this ensemble, and I think it really shows. I think that this production could go up against almost any production that you would see anywhere and hold its own. And I think that people are impressed with the way that these actors bring out the heart in this show and the comedy and the way that we sort of take risks in different ways and maybe make you see the show in a way that you haven't before.